After what seemed like an eternal slumber, Link gets woken up by a voice that calls him the Chosen One. The camera pans around the room before zooming in on Rauru, one of the ancient sages who built the Temple of Time, explaining to Link about the Chamber of Sages inside the Temple of Light, located in the center of the Sacred Realm. He tells him that pulling this Master Sword was the final key to the Sacred Realm before finally revealing that 7 years had passed. Rauru informs Link that only one worthy of the title, Hero of Time, can pull the Master Sword. Because Link was too young to be the Hero of Time, his spirit was sealed away for 7 years. Even though Link opened the Door of Time in the name of peace, Rauru states that Ganondorf entered the Sacred Realm to obtain the Triforce from the Temple of Light and became the King of Evil, transforming Hyrule into a world of monsters. But there is still hope. Link's ability to fight alongside with the sages makes him the Hero of Time, and before Link departs back to Hyrule, Rauru gives him the Light Medallion, telling Link to find the other sages to save Hyrule. Link is transported back to the Temple of Time. Navi notices that some of the weapons are unusable now that he's an adult, but before they both leave, a mysterious man appears from the shadows, causing Link to draw a sword as a reflex. The mystery man tells him about a legend passed down by his people of those destined to be sages residing in 5 temples. Together with the Hero of Time, they will seal away the evil and return light to Hyrule. The mystery man reveals his name to be Sheik of the Sheikahs. He tells Link to seek out the 5 sages in the temples. Sheik tells him the first place that he should go is the Forest Temple. He informs Link that will be the place where he will meet a girl that he knows. She is unable to awaken as a sage because of the evil power in the temple. Sheik knows that Link's current equipment won't be enough to reach the Forest Temple, so he directs him to Kakariko Village for a new skill. When we contact Saria using her song, she tells Link that the spirits called to her from the Forest Temple before she became surrounded by monsters within the temple itself. Hyrule Castletown is now infested with Greedeads, but running past one doesn't freeze Link for some reason. It could be a bug in the program. Before we go to Kakariko Village, let's head over to Lon Lon Ranch. In the building to the right, we will find adult Malon is being put to work by a man who wants to win Ganondorf's favor, Ingo. Turns out he kicked out Talon when Ganondorf gained power, and he abuses the horses when Malon disobeys him. Well, let's have a chat with Mr. Horse Harasser Ingo to find out the answer to what happened to the ranch after the 7-year-long slumber period. Let me tell you about Mr. Cheater Pumpkin Eater Ingo. This guy is practically using Malon as an indentured servant to perform all the laborious tasks, meanwhile charging people a steep sum of 10 rupees to ride the horses. But because Link is able to recognize that Epona is trapped here, he goes along with Ingo for the moment. Epona's song, the song that we got in the previous episode, is useful here. We find that she's the fastest horse that we can get here. Ingo doesn't recognize Epona at first, but he will after he challenges Link to a race. Ingo tries to cheat Link out of his rupees. That freaking cheater! He challenges us again after beating him. This time he wagers Epona. When we beat Ingo's for a second time, he recognizes that it's Epona that Link won. He was going to give her to Ganondorf as a trophy, seeing that he lost all ambition for worldly acclaim.
I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim.
He decides to let Link keep Epona, but closes the gate behind him to prevent Link from leaving. A cheater to the very end. Let's bypass this gate with a good jump. If you follow these instructions, then you should have Epona by now. Right now you are probably asking, Star, what are you doing back at Lon Lon Ranch? Didn't you just get Epona? Hold on to your horses for a moment, because we will be getting something interesting that only resides here. Ingo is suddenly as happy as a lit candle in the wind. My theory as to why he's like this now is because Malon gave him a lecture, much like she gave for Talon in the first Malon side quest, but worse.
I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of, believe me.
Talking to Malon, She tells us that Ingo is afraid of what Ganondorf would say about Epona being taken away before transforming back into a nice person. I don't know what she said to him, but she must have seemed scarier than Ganondorf. The fact that she can't even remember her own lecture makes it even more frightening. Regardless, she thanks Link for helping them. Talk to Malon again and she'll set up an obstacle course minigame. The goal here is to jump over every fence twice within 50 seconds. When you complete it, she gifts you with a present that's too heavy to carry, so she ships it to Link's house in Kokiri Forest. We will check that out in a bit, but first let's head over to Kakariko Village as originally advised by Sheik. While here, go into this building and talk to the lady inside. She'll tell us that Talon has been lazing around ever since he got kicked out by Ingo. Checking on him, we find that he's worried about the state of the ranch. As you may have guessed, we have to wake him up again. Talk to Anju outside. She claims to have made a Kuko breed that she doesn't get goosebumps from, called Pocket Kukos. She'll hand over an egg of the species to Link. When it hatches the following morning, use it to wake up Talon. He'll express gratitude for helping Malon in the ranch. Go show Anju that you made the Pocket Kuko happy with waking up Talon. She will then give you her brother's Kuko, Kojiro. He rarely crows, but when he does, it means that we will find Anju's brother. At the graveyard, we want to head into the Gravekeeper's hut to read Dampé's diary. From it, we'll find that he's been hiding a keepsake in his own grave, the item that we need to access the Forest Temple. Open the grave over here. You will be challenged by the ghost of Dampé to a race. Once complete, he rewards you with a treasure chest. Inside is the hook shot. On the way out, Navi will comment on blue blocks that harbor the same symbol as the Door of Time. These are time blocks. When you play the Song of Time, it will warp the blocks across time. These are often used in puzzles found in dungeons. Up here, we head inside the Kakariko Village windmill. Talk to the angry man playing music. He will inform Link that an Ocarina kid from 7 years ago played a song that messed up the windmill. When you pull out your Ocarina, he teaches you a song that you will inevitably end up playing in the past, creating a bootstrap paradox.
The bootstrap paradox. Google it.
Now listen to the Song of Storms, the last short song in the game. Our next goal for the day is to head to Kokiri Forest for some information gathering. First, remember that Malon shipped something to Link's house? Let's go see what it was. This might just be me, but how the did Malon ship a cow into Link's house anyway? It's like 10 feet off the ground! When you play Epona's song for the cow, she supplies Link with an endless amount of Lon Lon milk. Talking to the various Kokiri will tell us that Saria left for the Forest Temple as soon as monsters started to appear in Kokiri Forest. Entering the Lost Woods, Kojiro begins to crow. This means that we can find Anju's brother here. Talk to him and we find that he found an odd mushroom to be brewed into a medicine that he apparently needs. We take this to the old hag in the potion shop in Kakariko Village. If it turns to nighttime by the time you get there, play the sun song to skip to day, and you should be able to get to the potion shop by taking this route. Speak to the old lady in the potion shop, and she will smell the odd mushroom in your inventory. This will indicate that you need to give her the item, which she brews into an odd potion. Link has no idea what's going on between these people, but continues on with the quest because he likes helping people. Returning to the same spot in the Lost Woods, we find that a Kokiri girl has taken the spot, claiming, "Everybody will become a Stalfos."
You wrote some really disturbing fan fiction.
This girl's dark humor reminds me of my stepsister's fanfiction. Now isn't the time to discuss that, however. Further into the Lost Woods, Gandalf imitator Mito blocks our path once again. He says that Saria made him promise not to let anybody go past him, so let's show him that we know her by playing her song.
All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
Mito is reminded of Link, but doesn't realize that he's actually speaking to him. At the Sacred Forest Meadow, Navi teaches a new trick, sidestepping. It's what's needed to prevent an enemy ambush. In this case, it is moblins. At the end of the meadow, Link finds Saria is no longer in the spot she once was in. Sheik leaps down from the trees like a character from Naruto to provide a beautiful quote that describes the flow of time as being cruel and that it feels different for each person, recounting that what doesn't change is a memory of younger days. He introduces a new song called The Minuet of Forest, the first of 6 different warp songs. Listen to this melody for a moment. After this performance, Sheik performs a Kie no Jitsu, a banishing technique. With our first warp song, we are officially ready to tackle the Forest Temple. Listen to the introduction to the song for this place because it really sets the mood. You have to admit, even if you're not a Zelda fan, that the music here is pretty epic. At least in my opinion. In the main room of the dungeon, we meet 4 Poe sisters. Their names are Joelle, Beth, Amy, and Meg, respectively. They are named after the March sisters from the famous novel, Little Women. They hold colored flames that are needed to access the boss room in the basement of the dungeon. The process will be tedious, so let's start the dungeon compilation here. The key item for this dungeon is the fairy bow. We need this to take the Poe sisters out of their paintings. Here's a demonstration. Amy is hidden behind a block pushing puzzle. Just slide the right pieces into place to summon her. Meg is both the easiest and most difficult of the Poe sisters. You can determine that the real version of her spins an extra time. Taking the elevator down, you're going to push these wall segments in the counterclockwise direction. Pay attention to the map because that indicates locations revealed by pushing the wall. Entering the boss room, we find ourselves surrounded by 6 identical paintings. Going back reveals a location to be a trap. X-Step, is that you? No, this is Phantom Ganon. He leaps with his Gerudo Stallion into a painting like a scene from Super Mario 64. Phantom Ganon has 2 phases. In the first one, you have to guess which one is the real one before he leaps out of the painting. You can determine the real one by looking for the skull. In the second phase, he flies around with a staff throwing energy projectiles. I make this boss look much easier than he actually is. First-time players will actually struggle here. After defeating Phantom Ganon, the real Ganondorf will congratulate Link on defeating his Phantom, afterwards stating that he banishes it to the gap between dimensions. Entering the War Point, Link is crystallized and transported back to the Chamber of the Sages in the Temple of Light. While there, Saria greets Link with a serious look on her face, thanking him for allowing her to awaken as a sage. Saria accepts her destiny without remorse, staying in the Temple of Light as the Forest Sage. She gifts Link with the Forest Medallion as a symbol to the quest. When the screen fades, Saria states that she will always be Link's friend.
Surprise, mother...
The massive sapling that just grew is known as the Deku Tree Sprout. It harbors the memories of the previous Deku Tree and proudly proclaims that Link is a Hylian and not a Kokiri. The Deku Tree Sprout explains to him that when he was born, the country of Hyrule was experiencing a civil war. To avoid having Link grow up in such harsh conditions, his wounded mother took him to Kokiri Forest to be raised by the Great Deku Tree. Before Link parts, the Deku Tree Sprout informs him of his destiny to save Hyrule. Chatting with the Kokiri, some will comment on how Link looks familiar to them. Some of them even state that they miss Link and Saria. Say, thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this kind of content, leave a like, comment, or subscribe for more in the future. This was a really long episode, and it took a lot of planning. Regardless, I'm grateful for your view. Until next time, I'll see you on a paradise planet.